Yeah, NBA Straya, how are you going? Hang going, you right? You should be. Why is that, Jim? Well, it's Monday, June 30. And happy birthday, I don't know, my mate Simon, but most importantly, the two great-grandmothers, Mary, who are in their 90s. That's awesome. They both have the same birthday. It is chaos. So old mate's grandma, my grandma. Way to go. Big listeners of NBA Australia too, no doubt. Hey, it's Monday, June 30. This is NBA Australia. I'm your host, James Clements, here in Larry Armour Studios. And the NBA is about to get chaotic. It already is. So today's show, very quick one. Trade and signing chaos. We're just going to make sense of all the moves before free agency opens tomorrow. We've got trades coming at the wazoo, people signing extensions and with their own teams, etc. So we'll quickly go through each team and what they sort of have done, what they can do, what they want to do. And then we'll just get out of your hair because there'll be a bunch of stuff that goes down between basically me taping this and the start of free agency first thing tomorrow morning. So we'll basically get you up to speed, figure out what's going on, talk about the Aussies, and then piss off again. Sound good? Great. Let's get into it. Episode 1297 of NBA Australia. Let's go!
This is Josh Giddey.
G'day, this is Andrew Gaze.
This is Jack White.
This is Joe Ingles.
This is Dyson Daniels.
This is Chris Anstey.
This is Matthew Delvedova.
This is Shane Hill.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening and watching NBA Australia.
This is NBA Australia. Let's do it.
Watch out for the shark attack.
You better. Well, you better watch out for the attack of he got paid how much? Which is pretty cool. So, since we last spoke on Friday, there's been a little bit going on. So, let's start with the daily. Oh, there's a whipper out of the gym. Yep. I'm all fired up after a pretty chill weekend after last weekend's birthday shenanigans. Tell you what. Bit of news. Malik Beasley's being investigated for gambling. What the hell? Allegedly gambling on NBA games, player props, etc. during the 23-24 season. So that was the year before this one, right? Which has thrown a bit of a monkey wrench in the old works there in Detroit because they were looking at signing into like a $42 million contract. Now he's being investigated by the DA. Holy shit. And this has been one of my pet sort of like looks at the NBA and the USA in general. My background as it is as a journalist, but also with the gambling. The USA is just, because it's so splintered and split up into like 50 fucking different like sets of rules, sets of regulations, all this sort of shit. When it comes to sports gambling, it's just going to be an absolute shit show for at least 5 to 10 years. And we're going to see more of the Jonte Porters, the Terry Rozier investigations, the Malik Beasley, stuff like this. Just because that's how it's going to go. And between that and like fans finally sort of getting on board with it in all the states where it's legal, it's going to be fucking horrifying when it gets even more and more. So strap in, you're going to get more stories like this. But anyway, Malik Beasley being investigated for gambling. Not great, Bob. Not great. Hey, Masai Ujiri. Remember him? The genius behind, Denver and then Toronto. I tell you what, he's out. Amazing. So he's out of Toronto after the draft. So what the fuck? This is chaos, right? He took 2 more undersized dudes who can't shoot. He's just like, I'm going to fucking double down. Let's see if they fire me. And bang, they did. I want to know, like, did he start a fight in the draft room? Because it's very, very fucking strange to be like, nah, we'll get rid of you. You can leave after you do the draft. Right? The bloke's not going to be in charge of the team anymore. Why the fuck are you letting him make the draft picks? It makes no fucking sense. Did he start a fight in the draft room? Or, absolutely amazingly, they maybe were not paying attention. They waited until after he made those draft picks. They went, wait a minute. Those dudes? 2 more undersized dudes who can't fucking... Oh my God. Messiah, you're fired. Get the fuck out. Come on. You're taking the piss. Fucking done, mate. Get out of here. And he's like, I don't know. See you later. Which is pretty crazy because you remember Masai's been like offered the keys to the fucking franchise of a bunch of different places while he's been in Toronto. Toronto extended him, all this sort of stuff. But at the same time, they've been going fucking nowhere. And I think I've been one of the, I don't know, sort of bang the drum for Toronto and just how kind of mediocre they've been for the last bunch of years. And there's been very, very little seeming fucking of a plan in place for that Raptors team. So, bit of a mess, not a bit of a shit show. Not a surprise that he's gone, but considering he's like one of the more powerful presidents of basketball ops out there, that he got shit canned is pretty crazy. So, yeah, there you go. Other little bits and bobs. What else do we have? Jack White is going to be in the Summer League, I think, with the Hawks, which is pretty fun. Rain Smith as well is out there. What's he with the Suns, I think it was? No, the Nuggets. That's Rain Smith, I think. Tell you what, the Nuggets could use him. So that's pretty cool. But then, the biggest stuff from the weekend. Let's get into it. This is the off-season transaction stuff. We had trades. Trades! Who doesn't love trades? I also love that, like, Oklahoma City, that just fucking won 68 games in the title, their off-season moves last year were essentially getting Isaiah Hartenstein, and trading Josh Giddey for Alex Caruso. Not world-breaking fucking moves as well, but here we are. Lonzo Ball has been traded to Cleveland. Can you believe it?
It's bowling season
in
Cleveland.
That's right. Put that together pretty well. For Isaac Okoro. Now, Jim, what else? Nope, that's it. Is that it? The Arturas Karnisovas story. That's what that is. Because the Chicago Bulls, you might remember that team. They were once relevant in the 90s. And also in that D-Rose. But still, they have now said they had on their roster, you might remember, DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Alex Caruso, and Lonzo Ball. They got exactly 0 picks for all 4 of those dudes combined. Arturas Karnisovas, is that it? That's his story. That's the fucking bio name. Is that it? The Arturas Karnisovas story. That is incredible stuff. But Lonzo, look, he leaves Chicago for maybe greener pastures in Cleveland. I actually fucking hate this for Tyrese Proctor, but at the same time, look, the Cavs have got to make a couple of other little moves here. This is definitely goodbye Ty Jerome sort of situation, right? But hopefully Tyrese Proctor still makes the roster. And I guess staring down the barrel of having a rookie backup point guard, probably not ideal if you're Cleveland. So bringing in Lonzo and what's left of his knees is probably smart. So good on him. Colin Sexton and a pick have gone to Charlotte for Yusuf Nurkic. Geez, Jim, this feels a bit weird. It does, doesn't it? Because A, Charlotte now don't have a center that isn't Ryan Kalkbrenner or Masoud Diabate. But the fuck do Utah need Yusuf Nurkic for? It is amazing that they had to give up Colin Sexton and a pick to get rid of him, right? And so maybe it does feel like this is another trade waiting to happen. Walker Kessler to the Lakers, anybody? Lowry Markin to the Lakers, anybody? What do you think? Maybe something involving, oh, that's right, LeBron James. Who knows? Is there a 4-team thing in the works here? Ace Bailey to somewhere else. LeBron to somewhere else. Maybe Cleveland. Utah getting all the picks. Who knows what the fuck's going to happen? It just feels very strange that Utah's like, nah, we don't need, well, we're going to clear the decks a little bit more for Walter Clayton Jr. and Isaiah Collier and Jordan Jeremy Clarkson and all of our guards. But we'll get Yusuf Nurkic. So, okay. Yeah, this definitely feels like something else is in the works. So we'll see, I guess, by tomorrow. Pretty interesting stuff. And then the other little one was OKC, as I mentioned, the reigning champions traded guard Dylan Jones and a second round to the Wizards to get Colby Jones. A couple of keeping up with the Joneses. Basically, they will then waive. This puts them under the luxury tax, $9.5 million under the luxury tax, and leaves them with one remaining roster spot. So they did have all 15 roster spots on that, OKC championship team filled up. So maybe they bring back Alex Dukas. Just saying. Hey, who has signed already? Kind of. This is a lot of the player options who is like, actually re-up with their own team. The big one today was obviously, we had a bunch of them. So we'll just start with LeBron James, who had the most fuck you trade me pickup of a $53 million player option ever. Clearly, right? So picks up his player option, getting paid $53 million bucks. Rich Paul releases a thing saying he knows the Lakers are building for the future. He understands that, but he values a realistic chance of winning it all. We're very appreciative of the partnership we've had for 8 years with Jeannie and Rob and consider the Lakers as a critical part of his career. That fucking, to me, just screams, it's been great, but, what are you doing to win me another title now? Fuck you, trade me. LeBron James. This could be the biggest fucking hilarious story in the next couple of days when LeBron just nah, fuck y'all, I'm out. Get me on Dallas, get me to Cleveland, whatever. Let's do it.
Cleveland!
I don't know if he goes back to Dan Gilbert, but anyway. So the LeBron one's interesting because, look, they don't really have, we'll get to the cap space stuff in a second, but yeesh. It does sort of have these, the moving parts of a LeBron trade are obviously fucking pretty difficult because he's getting paid $53 million, but, nothing's impossible in the NBA. Hey, James Harden, fat man who badly clan, he declined his player option 2 years, $81 million. He re-signed. He's going to re-up with the LA Clippers. Basically, it's a player option in the second year, so it's a 1+1, right? He's like, cool, getting paid, $36 million is good. How about 40? The weirdest part about this announcement is how much Shams Charania gargled the nuts of James Harden. Much deserved. Oh, look how good he's been. It's like, mate, he's fucking cooked and your team's shit. I don't know what to tell you. So that's pretty fun. Jabari Smith was the other big one today as well. A 5-year, $122 million rookie extension for Jabari Smith there in Houston, which means they've pulled off the Kevin Durant trade. They've re-signed Fred VanVleet at a lower number. They've extended Jabari. They're bringing back Tari Eason, Jeff Green and co. They just look loaded for bear. And they've sort of just been smart about it. That's classic Houston. Not bad. Not bad at all. The one thing that they've got to do, they push back the guarantee on Jock Landale's contract as well until July 7, which is the day after, the end of, everything can be sort of figured out. Basically, it gives them some wiggle room to use him as part of a trade. And if they don't get anywhere with that, possibly, boom, you could just, waive him, I guess, and that would suck for Jock. But anyway, I'm assuming this is all happening with him in the knowledge of I know where I'm probably going to get traded and I'll probably make that money anyway. So the $8 million to Jock Landale, still right there. Other things that got updated and re-kajiggered and extended. The Minnesota Timberwolves did a bit of business, didn't they, Jim? Yes. Julius Randle, 3 years, $100 million. Not a bad-ish kind of number for Julius, I guess. That came after Naz Reid's 5-year, $125 million contract as well. People love Naz Reid, right? And Naz Reid is good. Very solid. 6th man of the year. Lots of bench scoring. We just saw Minnesota get fucking steamrolled, right? By the Oklahoma City Thunder in the Western Conference Finals. And yes, this for me, in my brain, is very much we need to keep these assets at big numbers so that if we can go big game hunting again, we can package this all up and do it. Nicky Alexander-Walker remains unsigned, unextended at least, so he's probably the odd one out because they're going to be pushing the second apron if they bring him back at any number, essentially. So it looks like they'll go with Rob Dillingham and their young dudes on that team, perhaps possibly in that Nicky Alexander-Walker backup point guard role. But the Naz Reid thing, it's cool. Anytime you can get an undersized center who's just a pretty good offensive player and, yeah. And then Julius Randle, who will just get absolutely fucking played out of a series at the drop of a hat. You got to bring him back, I guess. But still, as I said, it feels like those numbers are big enough that you can then trade them at some point if you so wish. So I'm not going to be too upset about it. Bobby Portis, fighting around the world. $44 million, 3 years to stay with Milwaukee. I guess it's Algonquin for the good land if you're Bobby Portis. Oh, crazy guys. OKC did a little bit of other business as well. They brought back Jalen Williams, 3 years, $24 million, extended to him. AJ Mitchell, 3 years, $9 million as well. Not bad. Sam Merrill, Cleveland. Out there doing some work. 4 years, $38 million for him. This feels like a bit fucking like it's like, you know, Peyton Pritchard kind of money, right? But he's not as good as Peyton Pritchard. I don't know. It's strange. Davion Mitchell, sticking with Miami. He was really, really, really good down the back half of that year for Miami. He was legitimately fantastic in the playoffs. 2 years, $24 million. It's pretty cheap. It's pretty good. Orlando declined a couple of team options on Caleb Houston and Mo Wagner, basically because they've got to figure out some wiggle room within the cap so they're not sitting over the second apron. Kelly Oubre out there in Philly, he picked up his $8.4 million player option. Sure. Garrett Temple, $3.4 million to Toronto. Duncan Robinson declined his $20 million player option, and he's looking at a return to Miami at a rekajiggered number. Makes sense. Quinton Post there for the Golden State Warriors. Player option for him. Team option. They picked that up as well. And then there's sort of the biggest names out there, obviously, in free agency are the likes of Jonathan Kuminga, who, in terms of like restricted free agency and stuff, like the Warriors extended the qualifying offer to Jonathan Kuminga and our man Taron Armstrong, by the way. Just saying. Don't forget about Taron. But basically, it sort of throws it up in the air. He's like one of the bigger fish still out there. Who knows if the Warriors will bring him back to push themselves up against the second apron, etc. as well. But in terms of this, I mean, this is kind of the story of this free agency. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of stuff going on, but there's fuck all headliners, really. So it's like a shitty music festival. Tony Bradley had his team option picked up by the Pacers. The Wolves declined options on Luka Garza and Josh Minott. Again, they're looking like, you know, money crunch. Don't know about Jingling Joe Ingles there either. Brandon Boston, Alfred Payton as well. They got their team options declined by the Pelicans. Luke Travers got a 2-year qualifying offer. Well, his 2-way qualifying offer from Cleveland, so making him a restricted free agent, which is all pretty interesting. Philly, they declined the team option on Lonnie Walker. Eric Gordon declined his player option, so he's going to be a free agent. So this is it, right? Like there's all these little bits and bobs. Everybody's got to do their player option, team options as of today, working on extensions. There'll probably be more like, you know, trades and all that sort of junk as the day goes on. And the weird part is you look at the actual free agent list and you go, Jesus, that's whelming. Jonathan Kuminga, sure, restricted free agent. So you go out there and you try to pay him a big fucking contract. Golden State, if they so wish, can just match it. Bit of an interesting one. The thing is, they clearly aren't exactly, you know, overwhelmed with Kuminga love at this point. So Johnny Cumbucket, what's he going to get paid? Don't know. But somewhere like Miami would be fucking massive. The problem is, can they carve out enough cap space? Who knows? Brooklyn, maybe. They're the only team out there with any cap space, so we'll see what happens. D'Lo, obviously a free agent. Dorian Finney-Smith declined his player option as well. So there's lots of noise about him going to Houston. The Lakers obviously bringing him back because Luka Doncic loves him. Nick Batum declined his player option as well. Big one for the Clippers because he was fucking really important for them. Al Horford, free agent. Ben Simmons, a free agent. We'll get to the rest of the Aussies in a second. Cam Thomas. So Brooklyn have made him a restricted free agent. Basically, no one, unless someone wants to pay him like the mid-level, that's about all he can get paid. Brooklyn are basically just like smartly going, we're going to kind of limit what you can get paid because no one out there's got cap space, buddy. Zaire Williams, same sort of thing. They didn't give him the qualifying offer. I think Brooklyn want to keep him and bring him back. But anyway, Luke Kennard's out there. Bruce Brown is out there in his cowboy outfits. Brooke Lopez, Clint Capella, Ty Jerome, Malcolm Brogdon. God, he'd be good for Orlando. Just saying. Keon Ellis, Sacramento got to make a decision there. KPJ, Kevin Porter Jr. is out there throwing soup and declining his own player option there in Milwaukee, which is funny. Gary Harris, also a possible like unrestricted free agent. Paul Reed, basketball Paul. Yabu Sally's been talked about going to San Antonio. And then we've got our Aussies. Obviously, as I mentioned, Ben Simmons, Jingling Joe Ingles, Patty Mills, Dante Exum, Jack McVeigh. Taron Armstrong's now a restricted free agent. Same as Luke Travers. Jock we don't know about until he actually gets to his spot. So much is sort of up in the air right now. I'm doing this, Monday before noon, hanging out. We'll see what else happens in the next 18 hours. But it sort of seems, and we'll go team by team in just a second. There are some big names, some big teams, but with only one team with real legitimate fuck you cap space, it's going to be a lot of stuff around the margins. I still think there's going to be a lot of movement. I think we're still going to see a couple of big surprise trades where you're like, where the fuck did that come from kind of stuff. You got Brooklyn desperate to use their cap space just to take on any more assets that you want to get rid of. I don't know. It's going to be really, really fun, I reckon. So with that in mind, let's briefly go through all the teams and sort of see where they're at, and then we'll piss off. We'll do a couple of nahs at the end and then fuck off. So, free agency 2025. What do they need? What are they going to get? How's it all sitting? Let's start with Atlanta. Well, look, they probably need another ball handler. They've got the non-taxpayer mid-level that they can use. Nick Alexander-Walker, I feel like, would be a fucking great fit for Atlanta, right? Another backup guard to help out Dyson Daniels fucking make up for all of Trae Young's shit defense. They've got Clint Capella on the books as I think they've probably gotten rid of his cap hold at this point. But they've traded for the Extreme Zingamil.
Extreme Zingamil.
They've got Onyeka Okongwu, and they've, drafted a big, so I think Clint Capella might be the odd man out. I'll tell you where he'd be awesome. Charlotte. Anyway, so Atlanta, I think they'll be, because they've got a bit of money to play with, they will keep upgrading. They can see that there's blood in the water there in the East. And they were pretty good in the back half of last season. Dyson Daniels a weapon, we know that. They get Jalen Johnson back. They got the Extreme Zingamil. They're going for broke, so Atlanta will spend that money. Boston! Oh boy. Will Jaylen Brown get traded? Yeah, nah. I don't think so. Nah, they're on the taxpayer mid-level because they got under the second apron. They're still right up against it all, though, right, in terms of money. So Luke Cornett might be gone. They've got to figure out how they get a big on their roster because Al Horford is just floating around going, I don't know. So Boston's got some interesting sort of shenanigans they're going to have to pull. You feel like, I don't know, the Peyton Pritchard, Sam Houses of the world. There's a lot of value, but House is probably the one that's super expendable, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's on the move too, just to get more of that wiggle room, breathing space. They cut $260 million worth off their tax bill over the next couple of years, which is pretty massive, but might be a little bit more still coming. But Boston, look, with Jason Tatum done for this next season, it's like treading water kind of vibes. Keep Jaylen Brown, keep Derek White. Everything else is up for grabs. Brooklyn, the only team with cap space, 37 and a bit million. Cam Thomas, the decision on that should be pretty easy. Like if someone comes in and goes, here's the tax mid-level or the non-taxpayer mid-level for Cam Thomas, Brooklyn's like, cool, we'll match it. They declined the Zaire Williams, Day'Ron Sharp player options, basically to give themselves more cap room so they can absorb more stuff if need be. Basically, they're just going to approach this smartly, keep the powder dry, get more assets, go from there. It feels like they will basically be a dumping ground, I think, for talent. So they'll probably end up with a couple of like weird names where you're like, Jesus, he's on Brooklyn? See what happens. Cam Johnson may also get traded. Just don't know what's going to happen there. Charlotte have got the non-taxpayer mid-level, but they don't have a center. Like Moussa Diabate is like their starting center at the moment, and Ryan Kalkbrenner. They're the only two bigs on this roster. It's fucking crazy. So Charlotte could definitely use a Clint Capella, but with the non-taxpayer mid-level, I don't know. Is he worth that? See what happens. But how about a trade with Portland? Portland's got 5 fucking centers on that roster at the moment. Time Lord, anybody? Time Lord on Charlotte? Sign me up. But yeah, it feels like Charlotte have got like the guards and wings coming at their fucking ass, and they just need like a big, and they might be not shithouse. They also now have Colin Sexton, so they've actually got like another guard, another ball-handling backup guard, which is pretty interesting and pretty smart, I guess. So see what happens with them, but they just need a big. Chicago! They've got to figure out the Josh Giddey contract. They've now got the Isaac Okoro in place of Alonzo Ball spot going on. They've got a non-taxpayer mid-level as well, but we know that your man Jerry Reinsdorf is cheap as fuck and probably won't go into the tax. So Chicago just will keep building around the edges, I think. I can't really, what move, Like, would Vooch get traded? I don't know at this point. But the Giddy contract's the biggest thing on their mind. Cleveland! Even with the Lonzo Okoro thing, they're right at the second apron. They're cooked by the roster dollars. They might have to shed some more money as well. It's just, I don't know. They've got some assets, obviously. You've got Maxi Strus making a bit. He might get moved, but otherwise, if I'm Cleveland, I'm just keeping fucking everything intact right now because you're going to be the 1 seed in the East next year. Anyway, off we go. Buying, right? So we'll see what happens. Dallas. LeBron? Question mark. Ayo. Maybe to Phoenix. I don't know. Remember his other son, Bryce, is going to Arizona. Could LeBron go to Phoenix? They got a lot of fucking moving parts there. Yeah. Anyway, but Dallas go hang out with his old mate, Anthony Davis, Cooper Flag. I don't know. There's a lot of shit that have to actually sort of tee that up and go help out Luka. You could just basically remake the Mavs on LA and go get Derek Lively and PJ Washington in exchange for LeBron and some shit. But anyway, Dallas have also got to figure out what they're going to do with Dante Exum, Spencer Dinwiddie, if they want to bring them back at any point. They don't really have a point guard at this point, so it probably would seem smart to bring back at least Dante. But anyway, Dallas is like this weird situation where they've got Anthony Davis in the fucking tail end of his prime, no Kyrie Irving this year, Klay Thompson, PJ Washington, 2 decent centers, and no point guard. Cooper Flag is just like, shit, am I the point guard? What's going on, man? Denver! I've got the taxpayer mid-level. Could hard cap themselves if they use it, though, at the second apron, so they've got to do something really smart and cheap on the edges. Probably not Russell Westbrook. Just saying. He's another free agent out there too. Denver, look, do they have to make a decision on the Michael Porter Jr. spot? Maybe. I don't know, though. They did take the reigning champs to 7 games with Aaron Gordon on one leg and Michael Porter Jr. with one arm. So, I don't know. But could they get Bruce Brown back on the cheap? What do you reckon? With the taxpayer mid-level, just do it. Fucking bunch of cheapskates there too. Detroit basketball, the Pistons. They could actually make up to $16 million in cap space. So they're an interesting little player on the edges here too. They've got Dennis Schroeder, I am Drummond Rondo, Tim Hardaway the Lesser, Malik Beasley, all these sort of like weird questions floating around Detroit. But they do get Jaden Ivey back this year. You could go like get someone like Santi Aldama from Memphis. I don't know. It's an interesting sort of spot for Detroit. They kind of need a little bit of help on the wings, but they do have Ron Holland. They've got Orsar Thompson. Like, their entire thing was like, oh, veteran shooters, that's good. And now Malik Beasley's out there betting on games. They might be fucked, so who knows what's going to happen now. Golden State have got the taxpayer mid-level. They've got to figure out this Kuminga deal, though, whether or not he comes back before anything else really kind of happens, right? You just sort of think about that team. Steph, Jimmy Butler, Gary Payton, the Mitten, Moses Moody, obviously Draymond and stuff. They just do need another big wing if they don't keep Kuminga. So I'm just saying, Alex Tui, get ready, buddy. Houston, after all of this movement, right? Kevin Durant, Fred VanVleet extending Jabari. Jock is like the dude who's just like, oh, can I stick around? So they've extended Steven Adams, they've extended everybody, and Jock's just pushed his like guarantee back. So we'll see what happens with Houston, because look, if they're looking down the barrel of getting Dorian Finney-Smith as well, holy shit. Talk about loaded for bear and wanting to have a crack at OKC with an awesome defense yourselves. Jock might be the odd man out, which sort of sucks. Don't know what they're going to do with Jack McVay either, but anyway. Houston, looking pretty interesting. Indiana! They've got most of their dudes already locked up, apart from Miles Turner. I think they'll extend him this offseason at a bigger number, and away they go. That's the sort of team. Like, they're always pretty conservative with their cash, other paces, but either way. Clippers! They've got the non-taxpayer mid-level, which is pretty crazy. So they've actually got money to spend. They've got the Batum decision to make as well if they bring him back. Chris Paul, could they bring him back as another backup for next to James Harden? That'd be pretty interesting. But the Clippers, just in a strange situation. Like, how good are they? Right? You got Norm Powell, Derek Jones Jr., all these sorts of dudes. Ben Simmons, does he come back? Patty Mills, what are you going to do there? Just, the Clippers feel fucking weird as. I just don't know what to make of them. They're going to be an interesting team where they could just come from absolutely fucking nowhere and make a massive move tomorrow. Just saying. Keep an eye on the Clippers. Lakers, LeBron James opts in. Could it be dealt? Maybe. Dorian Finney-Smith, he opts out. Could he be dealt? Well, could he re-sign, rather? Because I don't think they can deal him now. The Lakers just feel like in a really, really fucking strange situation, right? They're being sold. You've got Luka. I kind of want to keep Dorian Finney-Smith because you just need some sort of fucking defense on that team, right? Right? Anyway, Lakers, I would not be surprised if there's a lot more LeBron chatter. Memphis, they've got like a tiny little bit of cap space, but their weird thing is Memphis, they need to like bump up Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr.'s salary so they can extend him from a higher number that'll save them money in the long run. It's a really weird situation. Santi Aldama's the other one to keep an eye on whether or not he comes back or not for Memphis. They've just got a lot of moving parts as well around like Ja Morant. They make the Desmond Bain trade as well. But it doesn't really feel like they're going to be like, a LeBron James destination. But just look at what they do with Triple J. Keep an eye on that. Miami with the Duncan Robinson move. Maybe they're carving out enough space to go get Jonathan Kuminga. Or at least make him, an offer that Golden State are happy to refuse. Duncan Robinson's the other one there. They've already obviously re-signed Davion Mitchell, or at least intend to, right? And that's like a lot of this sort of stuff is like, we intend to sign him to the extension and that'll get done. But pretty interesting stuff. I don't know, Miami they're always a weird floater. Just a really strange floater. What could happen there? Who knows? They're always up to something. The Heat and Pat Riley and Alonzo Mourning. Yeah, anyway. Milwaukee! They can actually get to the non-taxpayer mid-level exception, but they've brought back Bobby Portis, so I'm not sure if this can happen now. They need someone like Nick Alexander-Walker. Brook Lopez is a free agent as well. This team is just cooked, aren't they? It sucks, but they're kind of cooked. Just don't know what's going to go on there. Milwaukee, how do they get out of this? Like, it's Giannis. Is there going to be a Giannis trade? Yeah, nah. I mean, he's just sort of doing the soft launch the other day of like, I'm keeping a close eye on what they're up to this offseason. And if I don't like it, who knows? But Milwaukee fucking loves Giannis. Giannis loves Milwaukee. You just got to do anything to make this team better. So let's see what they can do. There are a couple of shooters out there and like the dudes like Luke Kennard and, again, Bruce Brown. Like those additive extra kind of bench players that you sort of just bring on, put them around Giannis and see what they can do. But being able to afford those players is another question altogether. Minnesota have done a lot of their stuff. Reed and Randall are back. Big decision to do on Nick Alexander-Walker. That'd be a second apron team if he comes back, and that'd be fucking pretty crazy for the new owners. So I don't know if he does. Give the ball to Rob Dillingham and see how he goes. New Orleans are at the taxpayer mid-level because they've got Jordan Poole and Olynyk. They've added money somehow, which is crazy. They'd go over the tax using the full non-taxpayer as well. So this New Orleans team, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, Zion, is he going to be moved? Yeah, nah. Maybe. We'll see what happens there. But New Orleans is just a strange team in general. New York, they're at the second apron. They've got no exceptions, really. So whatever they can sign, to be veteran stuff, small numbers. They need a little bit more depth, don't they? Like a Bruce Brownie sort of type, but that's veteran minimum stuff. I don't know. OKC, they got the 14 players under the luxury tax. They might actually bring back Alex Dukas. So, I don't know. They want to keep their cap clear in the next couple of years, don't they? Orlando! They've actually got fuck all flexibility, but that's why they declined the team options on Mo and Caleb Houston and stuff. Can they get Tyus Jones or Chris Paul or Malcolm Brogdon? Just get a fucking point guard. Just someone who can handle the ball. Because you're going to have, you got the Franz Wagner extension kicking in. You'll have the Paolo extension kicking in soon. Jalen Suggs has already kicked in, even though that goes down, but still. Orlando, look, just on the margins, get yourself a backup point guard, please. Philly, we've got the taxpayer mid-level. Not much they can do. They've got a couple of bigs, kind of. They need another wing. Maybe Larry comes back. A lot of their stuff, though, is just going, all right, can Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain, and VJ Edgecombe actually play together on a team? Is Paul George healthy, and can Joel Embiid play basketball anymore? Philly could be this massive riser next year because the East is shithouse, but Embiid could also just fucking hurt his knee again and never be seen from again. Phoenix, they're at the second apron, so they've got fuck all flexibility themselves as well after the KD trade. They've got 87 different shooting guards. Brad Beal. What's going to happen there? No one fucking knows. I don't think Brad Beal knows or cares. He's just like, man, I love Arizona. What are you talking about? Portland. As I said, they fucking draft Yang Hansen. Love that. They've got 50 fucking centers. They're a mess. What are Portland doing? Jeremy Grant's out there getting paid $100 million still for the next couple of years. Jesus. They're at the taxpayer mid-level and their team's a bit shit. So I don't know, but they've cleared out the decks with Simons out. They've brought in Giroux. I can't really see them doing too much more. Like maybe Matisse and his $11 million gets traded. He is a bit of a luxury, but at the same time, he's one of the few dudes, like next to like Tumani Kamara. Like you can see what's going on in there in Portland, but it just feels like it never coalesces. Don't know what they're going to do. I don't think they're going to do much, is my guess, until they get sold. Sacramento, they're at the taxpayer mid-level. Who knows what the fuck they're going to do either. Keon Ellis, there's a decision there to make, but they're up against it. So as you can see, right, there's not much money floating around in the NBA right now because of the disastrous CBA, where the players agreed to basically a hard cap and everyone's a moron. So good job, everybody. Sacramento, though, look, they've already rebuilt the 2020s Bulls, and they're still shit. What a surprise. Don't know what they can do to get better. Trade Suva? Don't know. San Antone, they're over the cap, but they've got a little bit of spending power because they can pay the non-taxpayer mid-level. But again, I think they want to keep their powder dry with all the young dudes that they've got on the roster. So don't know if San Antonio's going to do too much. See what happens. Toronto, they don't have a president of basketball ops anymore. They're up against the taxpayer levels, right, with all their dudes on these big contracts, but they're still a bit shit. Chris Boucher, does he come back? Don't know. Utah, non-taxpayer mid-level, but at the same time, John Collins picked up his option. It feels like there's just some moving parts and Danny Ainge is doing some shit, right? They're weird. I don't know what they're up to, but they're up to something in Utah. Don't know what they could do to get better in free agency, but they've got Ace Bailey. Maybe Kessler goes to the Lakers. Who knows? Get that first rounder. And then finally, Washington. All the vets on this roster, they could easily, let Brogdon walk. Middleton's, I think, restricted. Who knows what could go on. They're just a strange team. So they got the non-taxpayer mid-level as well. Washington, they used the, exception last year on Valanciunas, traded him as well. Weird spots, but they're super young. Maybe Clint Capella's a good spot for them as well. You just need a big next to Alexander Sarr. He can stretch the floor. Maybe. We'll see what happens. So that's all 30 teams. I mean, the biggest ones are really like LeBron staying a Laker, Giannis staying a Buck, Zion staying a Pelican, Jaylen Brown staying a Celtic. Does that all happen? I kind of feel like one thing is going to just be big and happen in the next 2 days. It might be LeBron. It might be Zion. It feels like the Zion thing, though, might happen later in the summer. In their summer, right? Where it's like before the season, Joe Dumars is like, wait a minute, this is fucked. What are we doing? But of course, now they owe their first round pick to fucking Atlanta because they're idiots. So maybe Zion stays a Pelican because Joe Dumars is like, wait a second, we can't tank. Fuck, I'm an idiot. Jaylen Brown remaining a Celtic. Unless they get a massive Godfather offer from Danny Ainge, I can't really see it. Or maybe from Brooklyn. Again, I can't really see that. Where else could Jaylen Brown end up? Like, feasibly, where they've got a shit ton of picks and stuff to give up and help the Celtics out. It's really hard to see, right? Brooklyn, I think, again, they're in asset collection mode. I don't think anything really goes on with that massive amount of cap space. But I feel like the Lakers could do something with Lowry and Kessler. Maybe LeBron goes somewhere else, and holy shit, it's all going on. And then the last one I'll leave you with, and I'll throw this one out to you guys, all the folks out there, because we're going to do a massive recap show tomorrow, recapping all the free agency stuff. Is Ben Simmons in the NBA next year? And if so, where does he land? Let me know what you reckon. Yeah? So send through your yeah, nahs, all the good stuff, and we'll answer them all tomorrow, because that is it for today. That is your free agency primer. That's making sense of all that trade chaos, all the crazy stuff that's gone down in the last, I don't know, couple of days. So strap in, get ready. Free agency is going to open tomorrow morning. It's going to be absolutely fucking nuts. And we'll be back to wrap it all up for you tomorrow. That's what we do here on NBA Australia, isn't it? So make sure you subscribe across all your Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, whatever app you use on your Android phone, all that good stuff. Get around all the socials. Twitter, Facey, IG, TikTok, YouTube, all that stuff too. Get all around them and, send through your nars for tomorrow's show. Any other questions you've got for the off-season, send them through. I'll answer it as best I can. Big thanks always go to From Oslo for the intro and outro songs. So too to Househats, Joshua Laurentiis, Fascinated Goldmines, Ramshackle Army, Iowa, Section Green, and Dozers. They're behind all the tunes you hear on the show. Smash them all on Bandcamp, Triple J and Earth, Face, Apple Music, Spotify. NBA Australia Sports, Australia Bands. That's it. We're gonna get out of your hair right now, and we will catch you tomorrow, you dickheads, for a massive free agency wrap. Something's gonna go down. It's gonna be crazy. Can't wait to see what happens. So we'll see you tomorrow, you dickheads. NBA Australia saying, look after yourselves, would ya? And free agency! You know. G'day, legends. Your mate Jim from NBA Straya here. That's right, I'm doing a thing at the end of the show. In the business, we call it a thing at the end of the show, I guess. I don't know. Either way, all I'm just saying is just make sure you're rating, reviewing, starring, subscribing across all of the apps that you use for NBA Straya. Jump in the comments, give us a shout. We'll bang you in your nars. Any other questions? I'll have a crack. I've got nothing better to do, basically. Also, just ask any questions, tell me what you want to hear from the show, and sing out and let us know. And of course, if you want to help support the show, jump on the old dabble, use that code NBA Australia, click on the link that's in the show description or on the socials. It goes up whenever I do the morning vibes, etc. So if that's your thing, jump on there, use that code NBA Australia, and remember, look after yourselves, would you?